Alright, have you ever been like genuinely surprised when a character releases that you thought you didn't or wouldn't care about, but then they end up kind of blowing that notion out of the water? Because for the first time in a long time, that actually happened for me in HSR with Hyacine, and I really would have never seen this coming before she released. For context, right, like my favorite characters in HSR are Jingliu and Blade, and let's be honest here, they're both kind of gloomy or edgy characters. I found them pretty cool based on their designs, I liked them in their story, and particularly in Jingliu's story quest, and once they were released, I also found them really fun to play. As another example in, let's say, Genshin, my favorite characters are Kazuha and Shiori, who, while not edgy or gloomy, definitely aren't the kinds of characters that are like super bubbly or anything like that. So in comparison, a character like Hyacine, the upbeat, super positive, always trying her best character that's basically just a magical girl? I mean, she is completely out of my wheelhouse. But somehow, she's actually become a large part of the reason that I've been logging into HSR recently. For full transparency, I did originally pull Hyacine for the HP meta. I know with how the game currently is, she's a pretty nice character to have for all those HP scaling characters, both presently in the game like Maide, Castoris, or Tribi, but also probably for the future characters that haven't released yet, as well as characters that are getting buffs in 3.4. When her banner came around, I rolled for her, I built her up to what I'd say is a relatively respectable level, and then I started trying her out with the different characters I have. Like, she's been a pretty nice buff to Blade with the big HP increase from her ult state, and since I got her light cone, the HP drain it offers lets Blade follow-up attack more often, which is nice too. But funnily enough, the more I started using her in those teams, the more I started kinda just enjoying myself with her as a character. Again, a bubbly character like Hyacine is definitely not my style, but the cute animations and whatnot that I was seeing kinda just started growing on me the more I played. It wasn't just Hyacine though, because she's a remembrance character that comes with a memo sprite, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't really enjoy seeing Ika's attacks go off so often, doing arguably a lot more damage than they should be for a healer. Like the rocket attack he does going up and splitting the sky is so ridiculous to me, but it was also something that I found myself really enjoying as I was playing her more. At that point, I was just like, wait a minute, why don't I run Hyacine as the main DPS instead? And that's where I really started to, quite frankly, just start having fun. Like, I took her into Pure Fiction and I got max points there, I took her into MOC and I was able to get a decent clear, I brought her into APOC and while I couldn't get a clear there, it was still fun trying. And I also had a ton of fun messing around in the simulated universe to see what kind of big damage numbers I could get. I don't even think my Hyacine is built super well, like she's decent, but seeing the big damage numbers that she could pull off regardless was honestly just funny and actually really cool to see. Like, before Hyacine released, I saw all the memes about Ika being the Aeon of Veracity and everyone calling him a fat fuck, and I found that hilarious. But I didn't really expect much out of her other than being a support for HP scaling teams. After playing her though, I started to get it. Like, seeing Ika go off and do hundreds of thousands of damage was insanely fun, and the fact that it was just a little dude like Ika made it all the better. Like, is Hyacine a balanced character? Should a healer be doing what she's doing? Absolutely not. But you know what? At this point, who cares? I am having a hell of a lot of fun playing the character, and at least for me, if it's something that becomes part of the reason for me to keep logging in and actually enjoying my time playing the game, then I am absolutely all for that. This is a totally silly character gameplay-wise, like her kit absolutely doesn't make any sense and realistically is not healthy for the game, but I think that's fine. If a little unicorn like Ika wants to do nearly as much damage as an Acheron can against multiple targets, so be it. At the end of the day, this is a game, and I want to have fun playing it, and Hyacine is definitely a hell of a lot of fun to play. I honestly can't recommend the character enough, regardless of whether you decide to use her as a sustain for your HP scaling teams, or do what I did and run the Aeon of Veracity as a DPS instead. I think pretty much everyone could find some usefulness with her kit, and more importantly, I think it would be really easy for you to have fun and actually just enjoy playing the character like I did. This is a bit of a side note, but it honestly reminded me of a time back when the Raiden Shogun released in Genshin. While I have other favorite characters in that game like I mentioned earlier, back when she released, I would literally log into the game just to walk around to nuke random mobs and hilichurls and stuff with her ult. Like, I didn't need to be doing quests or clearing endgame or doing any kind of event or anything, it was literally just fun for me to play the character. And now with Hyacine, I am genuinely getting that same feeling. It's honestly such a nice feeling to have, and it makes me excited to actually open the game and just mess around with not only her, but also all the different teams she works with now, and I'm also excited to play all the teams she'll probably work with in the future as well. I mean, hell, people are already finding other ways to use her than just being a sustain in HP teams or using her as a meme DPS like I did. For example, you can use her as a sustain in Acheron teams instead of someone like Adventurine if you have her Light Cone, because every time Ika does one of his attacks, it ends up giving a stack to Acheron. Or you can use her in Fei Zhao teams because of how often you get extra attacks through Ika. Those are just a couple of random team comps you can use her in, but it's still a unique use case that she has, and I think that's pretty neat. So all that was just talking about gameplay, but I also did get caught up with and play through all the story in 3.3 as well. Obvious spoiler warning here if you haven't played it yet. I have to say that they actually did a really good job with this patch, and definitely so with Hyacine's part in the story. Was the beginning kind of yappy? Yeah, it was. Like, they could have cut maybe an hour or so out of that beginning section, and I think it would have been a much smoother experience. Despite that, I don't know if it was because I was having so much fun gameplay-wise with Hyacine, but I was feeling somewhat invested in her, and I was definitely still enjoying learning about her in the build-up to the later half of the story where she had her really big moment as a Chrysos heir. Like, I did enjoy that earlier half, but I would say around the second half of the 3.3 story is where it really started to pick up, and then from then on, it honestly just kind of cemented Hyacine not only as a character that's fun to play, but also one that I actually think might be one of my favorite characters at this point. Like, learning with her that everything she thought she knew was wrong in terms of her ancestry, her being able to move on despite that and still keep pushing forward to fight against Aquila, the insane animation where she did a Kamehameha with the music cut in.
The will of humanity!
Like, it was all stuff that just kind of resonated with me, and I had a ton of fun playing through that section in the story. Was the Kamehameha totally silly? Yeah, it was. But again, who cares at this point? The most important part is that it was fun and kind of one of those hype moments that you can really get excited about. Again, this is a character that is totally out of my wheelhouse, yet she's just hella fun to play, and I liked her a lot in the story, so why wouldn't she be someone that I'm excited about? Furthermore, her entire story arc actually kind of revitalized my interest in the Amphorius story and world as a whole. Up until now, I don't think I could have said that I was super interested in Amphorius, but this one character's story and her stupid little memo sprite has somehow made me care about it in a way that I haven't pretty much since 3.0 started. Like, do I think it was as good as the stuff that I really liked with HSR, like back on Belobog, for example? No, I still can't say that it was. But what I can say is that the entire patch was a really good showing of the fact that they can get somewhat close to that level if they really want to. And to be clear, while this video has mostly been about Hyacine, just as a quick aside, I also really enjoyed learning about Cypher and her part of the story too. The latter half of the story was just great overall, and like genuinely, for the first time in quite a while, I'm actually somewhat hopeful that they can continue on in 3.4 with a really good patch for Finon 2, and hopefully after that they can keep the streak going with even more good updates. I mean, we still have a ton of patches left all the way up until 3.7 before we're supposed to be done with Amphorius. In the meantime, we still haven't even seen where the March 7th part of the story is going to go from here, so they have plenty of opportunities to keep releasing good stuff and really pick up from the very slow start that Amphorius had. On top of that, we still do have the Myriad Celestia that covers the characters we haven't seen in a while like Jingliu and Acheron that we're supposed to be getting sometime between now and 3.4 based on what they said back in the 3.2 livestream, so that's something to look forward to as well, at least for me. At the end of the day, I still love this game. I wouldn't keep logging in and playing it, and I definitely wouldn't be here creating content for it if I didn't. I'm actually unbelievably happy that 3.3 was a good patch with very good characters because I want nothing more than for there to be good content that I can enjoy not just as a content creator for this game, but also just as a player. I want to be excited about this game. I want to have fun with the game as much as possible. I want to have conversations with people and make theories about the story and talk about how different characters are doing and what you can do with them and everything else. And when they release a patch like this is a patch where I can do that. It reminds me of one of the old videos that I released before 3.0 where I talked about how I was genuinely just excited for what was coming with the future Remembrance path as a whole, because I feel similarly now, especially with the Fate collab that's coming next patch. It reminds me that there's a decent amount of good stuff in this game despite the problems that it also has. Like, the game definitely isn't perfect, but when stuff like this patch happens and a character that's as silly but also as fun as Hyacine releases and the story is as solid as it was, I gotta give HSR some props. They cooked, and I really don't wish for anything more than for them to continue cooking going forward. Anyway, this video was a bit less focused as I was just expressing my excitement about the 3.3 patch, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on the patch, so feel free to leave a comment down below or join my Discord link down in the description to talk with me about it. As usual, thank you so much for watching, subscribe, and if you haven't already, maybe give my other videos a shot too.